Hello, my name is Griffin Hood. I just go by Griffin. I'm a freshman here at Eastern. I'm interested in studying business and accounting. I was born and raised in Walla Walla, Washington, which is a small town about 2.5 hours south from Cheney if you're driving. My mom was also raised in Walla Walla, Washington, and my dad was born in Hollywood, California, but moved to Moscow, Idaho at a very young age. My parents met at the University of Idaho, and after my mom finished law school there, they moved to Walla Walla together so my mom could start a law firm with her father, and they could start a family of my older brother, who's a junior at Western Washington University, me, and my little sister, who's a sophomore in high school. I'm taking this class because it was one of the classes on my graduation requirement sheet that actually seemed interesting to me. Um, and I think this class could really help me learn about other races and cultures, which could benefit my future career. My dad also thought it would be interesting and beneficial as well, so he kind of encouraged me to take it. Um, I chose to take this class online because, as you might be able to tell throughout this video, I have some anxiety problems, and I'm working on it, but I still do better conveying my thoughts when I have some time to think about it and get it down on paper, um, versus in a classroom setting when I'm kind of put on the spot and called on and stuff like that. So I'm sorry if this video is a little bit rough or short. Although it's an online course, it's still a big deal to me to put myself out there, and hopefully it gets better as the course goes on and as my journey here at Eastern continues. I am Caucasian. My parents recently did the ancestry DNA test, and the results came back that my dad is mainly English, Swedish, and German, and my mom is mostly Irish and French. But I think when I realized my skin color was different than others at my school, and when I realized what came along with different skin colors, um, those were at separate times. My town of Walla Walla has a larger percentage of Hispanics than most of the surrounding areas, and the elementary school I attended was probably 65% Hispanic and only 35% Caucasian. And this was in part because my elementary school was an immersion program, meaning I was learning Spanish at the same time as my peers were learning English. But since I grew up with kids whose skin was a different color than mine, it never really seemed that different to me, especially since we began to speak the same languages. Uh, However, it really started to hit me when I went to middle school. Um, the percentage of Hispanic to Caucasian dropped to about 50-50, and so other Caucasian students at my new middle school began to see me a little bit differently because most of my friends were Hispanic. Growing up with peers that were primarily Hispanic, I learned a lot about my own race, but a lot about theirs as well. When I hung out at their house, I realized just how different our cultures were. Most of them were very religious, and I'm not very religious. Their traditions were a lot different than mine. They had large holiday celebrations, and even their small family dinners were a lot different than my small family dinners looked. Um, I also learned how easy I had it compared to a lot of my friends, and most of that was in part because of the color of my skin. Regarding the question about if there's anything unique about my race, I didn't really know how to answer that question because one might argue that being white is unique because you get certain perks or privileges. But when I hear the word unique, I think more positive and one of a kind, and I wouldn't say that white privilege is something I'm proud of. Um, but maybe something will come up in this discussion that will help me answer that question better if I ever get it again. Um, and I don't think people expect anything from me because of my race, but coming from a family that is not struggling financially throughout school, I was seen and referred to as the rich white kid, which didn't really bother me because I've heard of some of the other things that my friends were being called, and it was nothing compared to what they were going through. I grew up playing soccer since I was 4, and in Walla Walla, once you move past the rec soccer that most kids do when they're young, um, the vast majority of people who play at a higher level are Hispanic. And for many years, I was the only white kid on my team, and everyone would always joke around with me and tell me that I must be the worst on the team because I'm white. And along with that came a Hispanic coach who preferred the Hispanic players over me, and he had never even seen me play, so he was basing my talent off of the color of my skin. And I had some teammates that came forward and agreed and said that they saw that. Um, but I don't think I can sit here and complain about my struggles playing soccer as a Caucasian kid because they're nothing like those that I've seen what my classmates have gone through or what I've seen on the news. And looking back, I can't really remember specific times that me being white has given me perks or privileges, but I'm sure it has, and I know it has happened numerous times to other people. When I was asked what the best thing about being my race, I thought that was a very hard question to answer, and the only one I could really come up with is that if I wasn't my race, then I wouldn't be myself, but maybe, again, this course or discussion can help me answer that question better. But then when I was asked what the worst part about being my race, that was even harder for me to answer because I feel very privileged in the life I was given compared to others, and in part because of the color of my skin. Again, I'm sorry if this video is a little short or cringy to watch. I'm still getting used to this, but I'm excited to continue through the quarter and learn with the rest of you, and thank you.